I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah, yeah. Everything you need to know that you never knew that you need to know. Look our perspective.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are doing a broadcast of one of our very popular shows that we had that was back almost at the top of the year. And we're going to be looking at one of the pagan holidays, even though it's not up right now. The one that's up today, yeah, well, we're not even going to talk about that. But I want to welcome every one of you all for being here. Melvin Thomas Jr., Amy Duran, thank you, Precious, for all of your precious notes. And Mama Bear and Papa Bear, as well as Dan Schramm. Hello, Deb Woods. I hope that you all enjoyed this. I'm going to be in the chat with you, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start the show. Well, it is supper time, Sunday dinner with the Lockhart Perspective and my special guest, the one and only Ronnie.d.Mann. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat this evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see you. Valiant One, you seem to be somebody who is right on time all the time. I guarantee you, you might be the person that if we say meet us at 5 o'clock, you are there at 4:45. I love it. I love it. I want to say hi to all of you. Rachel Van Ziel, how are you? So good to see you. So good to see you. We have a good spread. The table is spread for us this evening, and I do believe that it's going to be a good one. I'm trying to pull the gain down just a little bit. Ronnie, can you tell me if that's okay? I'm getting popping S's. Not sure if that's a good thing. May not be. May not be. Um, it's great to see everybody this evening. So, Ronnie, how's it going? Tell us all about what we have to look forward to this evening.
Oh, it's going well. I appreciate being here at the Lockhart Perspective for Sunday dinner. You do sound well. The game sounds well. But yeah, we have something special to look forward to. We're definitely on the non-GMO kick this evening. So, food for thought, and we're gonna have a lot of good things on the table, and we're gonna, if you like it, go ahead and taste it. If you like how it tastes, go ahead and implement it into your diet, and then we'll move forward. But as far as the menu of the day, um, you know, uh, we're going to be talking about this Lupercalia. Pardon me. We're going to be talking about this Valentine's Day thing this
Yeah.
evening that I'm sure most of America partook in throughout the day, throughout the even throughout the week,
Mhm.
things of that nature. And we're going to just get down to the bottom of the origins and see where it came from and how it relates to our walk in trying to maintain a sense of truth. Miss Lockhart, you might be muted on your end.
I'm so glad I wasn't muted, but I'm going to say it again. I saw Rachel say that of something about the hairdo, and I was like, "Thank you." And I said, "But every girl needs one that she can just shake out on the weekend. She just needs her weekend hair. She can just shake it out." The one that I had originally was going to be a long, dark hair and then blonde there. Because we just got through talking about hair, right? We just got through talking about hair the other day. But like I said, it's all smoke and mirrors, and I believe every girl should have at least one girlfriend, just one friend girl for the weekend. It's the weekend friend girl. That's what we used to call these. So yes, every woman must have at least one. And if you don't have one, you can go order this one, and you can order it from Hair Queen. Hair Queen. And yeah, you can do that. Or you can go on Instagram and go to Hair Queen. It's a little pink, and they're not sponsoring this channel, by the way. It's a little bitty pink emblem that says Hair Queen on Instagram. So they have human hair, they've got it all. This is human hair. So if you're a lady who just decides, hey, I wanted to put on a hat today, like I did, but I decided a hat wouldn't look cute, so I put on a hat with hair. Yeah, that's hard. That's it. That's it. Just do it. It's a girl's prerogative. I mean, we have the right. We have the right. We can do it. Yes, I was muted. Wasn't that hilarious, Valiant One? And I was going in too. I was like, shake it off like a little wet dog. Take it with a little conditioner, spray it, and shake it off like a little wet dog. All right, y'all. So it is good to see each and every person here this evening. I'm glad that you guys are able to come in. Like I said, we are going to deal with some really good stuff tonight. This is Sunday dinner, and Ronnie.d.Mann is going to be serving it up. Sonia, hello, Sonia. Sonia, hello, sister. How are you tonight? It is so good to see you. And so, yes, we are going to have a good conversation. Good conversation. But I just want to talk to you guys just a little bit before we get started. And that is the importance of you guys being bold in what you know. This is the season. So if there's anybody that's listening that has not been bold or just been feeling back, like sitting back, waiting to, go out there and jump forward, do it. Do it now. Speak the word in season and out of season. I hope this is encouraging somebody, because this is the important thing that I want to drive home tonight before we get underway. And that is, whatever the Father has given you as your duty to share with this world, it's time to do it now. It's time to do it now. Ronnie, I'm going to go ahead and give you the helm, and thank you so much for being here, sir. There you are.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. And you're right. This is the time to be vocal with this truth. Well, it's always time to be vocal with truth, but at this juncture, we got to go in. And when we go in, we have to be mindful to be on point, because we have mockers and naysayers at every bend, trying to attack you and make you look, under par. So, definitely get served up with this nice full course meal, and let's move forward in the spirit, in spirit and in truth. So with doing so, we definitely want to keep in line with the non-GMO. So when we hit these aspects, we have to look at ourselves and see where we are in the scheme of things. So what, just briefly, last week, what did we talk about? On the Sunday dinner, we were talking about, it was the last day of January. So we talked about a little bit, Janus, things of that nature, where that came from, why we're doing that, why it's called January. Moving forward, now we are what? We're in February. So keeping consistent with the narrative, I think you should know by now. What do you think we're doing calling it February? Just off top, I'm gonna tell you why we call it February, because Rome told us to call it February, and thus we call it February. So we are definitely in a Roman construct still, outside of last month. Here we go again, and once again into this month, we are under, interestingly enough, a Roman construct. So this is called February. Why? Let's break that down. Do you have Felicia, do you have some of the things that I sent to you?
I most assuredly do, kind sir. Just let me know which way you want to go.
Yeah, let's just go directly from in order, let's just
Mhm.
talk about uh, the Roman festival called Februalia. So,
Okay.
last week we talked about we talked about the same thing. There's a festival, and here we go again. We're entering into Februalia, um, with the observation of February. So once again, these whole things, everything that we, as far as time is concerned, we are dealing with a construct. We're dealing with a time frame, and there is an appointed time for everything. Right now, Rome has told us that this is the appointed time for February. And why? Because in ancient Rome, they had something called Februalia. And in Februalia, they worshiped and reverenced Februa or Februus, depending on if you want to take on the Latinized or what have you. But so this once again is a time allotted for a Roman god, and this Roman god's name is Februa. Um, and there's an appointed time, like I said, for everything. This is the appointed time for Februa according to Rome. And if we adhere to this mentally, then we are basically uh, under the precepts of Rome. And I don't know. Okay, so let me just read briefly, just to introduce you. Right underneath that picture says the ancient Romans had a festival for nearly everything. And if you were a god, you almost always got your own holiday. Februus, for whom the month of February is named, was a god associated with both death and purification. In some writings, Februus is considered the same god as Fawn because their holidays were celebrated so closely together. So we'll go ahead and take a look into all of this, but I just want to emphasize and bring you into um, the paganism that is Februalia, and this is um, an event, a festival that is observed at the beginning of February to purify you and to enter you into pure. Because the thing is, what they're purifying you from is associated with death and purification. Because um, in the ancient Roman calendar, there's only 10 months, and that last month is like an extended long month, and it's like 90 days. It depends on how many days, but it's a very lengthy. It's almost 3 months worth of time. That 10th month, and that's the quote unquote death period. That's the dark death cold period, and so in Februa, in the observation of the time frame of Februa, we're being purified from the death so we can enter into a brand new era, which would be, what we call spring or what have you. Um, and so we're being purified for this whole entire month as Romans. We're being purified to enter into a new thing that is introduced with the spring equinox. And on the spring equinox, then we enter into a new era of life. But right now we're in a death period, and we need to be purified so we can enter into that life, as far as what the Roman construct states. So all of this is paganism, um, and we play a part in it on a day-to-day basis. Like just to reemphasize, today is January 14th. So what I mean, I'm sorry, pardon me. Today is February 14th. So what we're actually saying is today is the 14th day of the observance of Februa. This is the 14th day that we are given to observe Februa, and we do this on a month-to-month basis. So there's a purification process, and now we are entering into today per se. So you can click on to the onto the next link that I sent you. And this isn't, I'm not going super deep. I just want to touch basis on, I might be re-emphasizing things that we already know, or I might be introducing these things that is brand new. to some of the listeners, but where do we get these things? Why is it this? Why is today, Valentine's Day or what have you? I'm not even going to get into why it is, why they decided to call it Valentine. I'm just going to talk about the origin of what this thing is. So, okay, yeah, scroll down until you see origins of Valentine's Day. And I have a lag, so pardon me. Just let me know when you're there, so everybody can follow along, or everybody has the ability to follow along if they are able to.
I hope this is going to describe what I was going to talk about. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, go ahead. This is funny. It's actually quite creepy. It's really quite
Yeah,
creepy. So here it is.
we'll definitely dive into it. So, and we'll see as we progress how all of these things relate. So I'm just going to start reading origins of Valentine's Day, a pagan festival in February. Um, While some believe that Valentine's Day is celebrated in the middle of February to commemorate the anniversary of Valentine's death or burial, which probably occurred around AD 2070, others claim that the Christian Church may have decided to place Saint Valentine's feast day in the middle of February in an effort to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia, celebrated on the Ides of February, which is February 15th. Lupercalia was a fertility festival dedicated to Faunus, the Roman god of agriculture, as well as to the Roman founders, Romulus and Remus. So, Romulus and Remus have been deified in Rome. And so this whole entire month, we are observing their feast, an observation for them. This is what this entire period is dedicated to. Mind you, um, this is a feast day. Saint Valentine's feast day is what it's actually called in Roman Roman Catholicism. It's Saint Valentine's feast day. But the thing is, there's already feast days that we're supposed to observe if we enter into, the narrow gate, and then we're supposed to be doing Yah's will. Then of course we need to be um, distancing ourselves from the world. And if there's already feast days that we're supposed to observe, then these other feast days are either counterfeits or have been implemented as substitutes. Um, and we need to consider these things. So this is actually a feast day, and feast days are always in dedication to some type of God. And if you don't find this feast day in scripture, then I'm not entirely sure that you should be partaking in it. Nonetheless, the actual origin of this event is called Lupercalia. So, um, just to reiterate some things, Lupercalia, and is dedicated to who? To Faunus.
So Ronnie and I are here with you all in the chat, and we just want to let you know that we appreciate you guys for being here. Hello, Ronnie.d.Mann. I thought this was an appropriate one for us to look at since we're dealing with all the holidays right now and the pagan holidays. So like you say, this is a throwback, and it is apropos considering today is October 31st. So you want to take a second and say, hey, we'll get right back into it.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me. I had to find this mute button or what have you.
We got you.
Hey, how are you? How are you?
Doing pretty good.
This is a nice throwback. This is very like it was stated apropos, considering what today is in the festive Gregorian calendar. But hey, there's a lot of interesting facts that we can. This is quite an excellent tool that you can use to get jump started on certain information that you may or may not know. Maybe it's reigniting a fire that of some information that you once had, that you once looked into. As we have gotten older and wiser, take another glance at it with brand new eyes, and you'll see things in a different perspective, in a tighter perspective. as far as understanding simple facts that hey, we got to let this stuff go. You know what I mean? But what's interesting is there's so much more information when we move forward, and I would love to be able to have the conversation with everybody.
Yeah. So Deb Woods at the very beginning says, I like this video. This is the one, this one started waking me up to Rome, which is really the reason why we are going to start doing this more often and being in the chat with you all. Because there's a lot of folks who have just joined us who did not even, they possibly didn't know that some of these tools were available at your disposal. And then some people probably don't remember. And so it's good to get everybody caught up to where everybody is so that once we start going into this next delve of information, delving into more information that both Ronnie and I are uncovering and have already known, but are going to break it down to you guys. We want everybody to be on the same page. So with that said, we're going to get right back into it, and we're not going to belabor the time, but this is a very good lesson. Let us know how you feel about it in the chat. And mind you, we're in the chat with you. So let's chat it up, as it were. Here you go.
The next link.
Alrighty.
And this is just a and this is just a reiteration, just to let you. I'm showing you multiple sources that this is actually, public information. This isn't anything that you have to be scholarly about. This isn't anything that is hiding in a dark crevice of a library or anything. I pulled something up just looking online. I pulled something up off of CNN, and I'm like, wow.
I'm going to tell you something. CNN's print is the old CNN. CNN's print is the old CNN. And I don't know if you guys know what I mean. Back in the day, CNN, we're talking back when the gentleman who just passed away, I don't remember his name. The older gentleman looked like a fish with the Larry King.
Larry King.
So, yes. So the print CNN, for whatever reason, I don't understand. Maybe it's keeping in line with the rule that says, whatever we're telling you about, we got to be honest with you. That may be it, but their print is creepy because it's a total opposite of what they've got going on TV. So with that said, I would trust it. I really would. And then you can do your own research. Don't ever trust anything without doing your own research.
That's right. I might fumble over words and say something that I thought that I said, but in actuality, I said the opposite of it, just, by fumbling words or I might have misspoke or spoke out of turn, something to that degree. You can't take anybody's word for it. You have to dive in to seek for yourself. Every man has to bring something to the table. Everybody has to bring their own sacrifice to the table. I can't rely on your sacrifice. You can't rely on mine. We all have to play our own part. So this is what I'm bringing to the Sunday dinner table. But it's a potluck. Everybody, I'm gonna munch on something that you bring in, and you munch on something that I bring.
Yeah.
However, whatever's on this table needs to be non-GMO. Let me be very, very clear on that. So whatever we put on the table clearly will be non-GMO, but seek for yourself to find this truth and make sure vet the vetting of the
vetter of the vettee. Vet the vetting of the vettee of the vetter. Vet us. Vet everything you hear across this platform and any other platform, because it does tie right in with the scripture that says, "And all you're getting, get understanding." And it is responsible. We are responsible for what we receive. We are responsible for how much we dig and how much because you know what, for whatever reason, it could be something that we say that may be a smidge off. And with your study, you could correct that, right? But it is important to do it. And I know a lot of people in our chat, they're very intelligent, well-versed, that if we let them up here, they could just do it. You know what I'm saying? But he's absolutely right. We do have to make sure that we vet the vetter. Vet the vettee.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving forward, we see that even CNN, like I said, will let you know they've done their research. So if CNN is doing their research, but we always talk bad about CNN, like, you better be doing your research because CNN did theirs. So this is the thing. I'm I'm just letting you know that this is public information. It says the ancient Roman festival of Lupercalia has been one of the earliest records of the term Valentine's Day, but the holiday isn't what you imagine. In fact, it's probably darker. The event, which was held on February 15th, began with the traditional sacrifice of an unlucky goat and a dog. And if that didn't get Cupid's arrow soaring, a group of priests called the Luperci then cut off a piece of the skin of the two animals, touched it on their foreheads, and then struck it against every woman nearby. So we're going to dive into that in a second. But I just
Wait a
wanted to
minute.
let you know.
I think maybe I've got the wrong thing up here because I don't see the verbiage that you use. Are you reading something separate of what's on the
Because
screen?
that's where I'm going. No, that's fine because that's exactly where I'm going to next. What I just read was an article of CNN explaining to you
Okay.
that
Okay.
Valentine's Day might have darker might have a historical origin or what have you
Okay.
um
Okay.
that, that might shock you or what have you,
Okay.
and that came from CNN. So that's kind of irrelevant. I just wanted to make the point that it's out there.
I
If you
just want
do
to
the
make sure
research,
I wasn't doing the wrong thing. You'd be like, what is she doing?
that's fine because in actuality, this is what I want to get at. This is exactly what I want to get at because
Okay.
now we're talking about Lupercalia, and Lupercalia is what we call Saint Valentine's Day, the Feast of Valentine. It is the Roman festival of Lupercalia. So once again, we are in Rome. You know why? Because this is a Roman construct that we're living in, and we have to come out of it. And how can we come out of it except through knowledge? My people perish for lack of knowledge. So we have to be observant of our surroundings, and we have to know that we know that we know that we're being duped, and then we have to do something about it. And this right here, this day, this whole day that America and a vast majority of the world celebrated, it was Lupercalia. In Lupercalia, an ancient Roman festival that was conducted annually on February 15th under the superintendence of a corporation of priests called the Luperci. The origins of the festival are obscure, although the likely derivation of its name comes from lupus, which is the wolf. And we know this to be true because the wolf is who nurtured and who suckled Romulus and Remus
Mm-hmm. Correct.
in the which are the founders of Rome. So it says that the name came from the lupus. It has variously suggested connection with an ancient deity who protected herds from wolves, and with the legendary she wolf herself, who
Wow.
nursed Remus. As a fertility rite, the festival is also associated with the god Faunus. Once
Wow.
again, so fertility rite, because this is what's going on. You are preparing yourself, you're purifying yourself from the dead months, from the last year of being dead. And if we're dead, we have to make sure that our fertility is on point because we're about to come into life again with the spring equinox, as far as the Roman construct, the Roman ideology is concerned,
Okay.
or theology or mythology, whatever word you want to put there.
Right.
So we have to make sure that we do a fertility rite so we can get in check, so we can be on point to go ahead and usher in this life that is about to manifest itself on the spring equinox. So it's a fertility rite, and this wolf lupus, that is like how the eagle, quote unquote, represents America. The wolf represents Rome, the founding of Rome. That's the mother. That's the
Okay.
mother. And then they take up, the phoenix or what have you, which is the eagle, and they take that up as well. But the mother of it all is a wolf. How interesting. How interesting.
So then I
So
don't think it's an accident that one of the scriptures that everybody is screaming about with regards to the Mandela effect utilizes the wolf. I mean, there are plenty other reasons why, but I think that, being that it is a whole Roman thing, I really honestly feel like that's possibly one of the reasons why we see that scripture now over in Isaiah and a couple of other places that specifically say that the wolf will lie down with the lamb, and that's a lie because it definitely said the lion will lie down with the lamb. Perhaps that's the reason why, under their spirit of witchcraft, they changed it to that. What do you say?
Well, as far as the wolf is concerned in general, we are this whole entire Roman theology that parades itself as truth, um, is the metaphorical equivalent to the wolf in sheep's clothing, and Rome is literally mothered by the wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
things to
Sandy,
consider.
yeah, and Sandy Aaron here says this all goes back to Nimrod and Babel. Um, Rachel Van Ziel says she made a comment with regards to fertility equals basically creation, and then followed it up with being a god of creation, which is pretty much what we're looking at right now when we consider the whole. I mean, we saw some stuff. You and I just talked about some stuff that we just saw, and it was amazing dealing with creating. So, to Rachel's point, you are right on point, sis. You're right on point.
Yeah, and furthermore, like that's why the pagans, the practicing, not just pagans in general, like, oh, you're a pagan, you're a heathen, but the literal pagans and the literal Wiccans, that's why they love this holiday. That's why they love this feast. And this is the thing. Um, you don't see Wiccans and you don't see pagans celebrating Yah's feasts, but you see them celebrating Roman Catholicism, Christendom's feasts. Yeah, that's something to consider. That is really something to consider.
Well, I think
So
also, I'm sorry, just to piggyback in this conversation, I think it's very important to understand what Ronnie is saying is absolutely correct because if you look back and they'll say that they knew that there was only one way to get these things to be promulgated and to get their feast and their celebrations pushed through was to pass them on to the Christians because they were very, as they put it, I watched the entire thing on it and I marveled at it. But their thing was they're very gullible and they're willing to think that anything that looks like them is them, or anything that somebody passes to them as very soft and nice and fluffy and loving. They stated, hey, this is how we were able to do it, and this is why they did it because they knew that they would then have more people to worship. Here's the funny thing about it. I hear a lot of people say, well, yeah, I heard that it's pagan, but that's not why I'm doing it. But see, even though that's not why you're doing it, the mere fact that you say you know that it is, and this is why, but that's not why you're doing it, you're still doing it for their purpose because they knew you were going to do it in any form of worship that is given to them. It's there, the devil is taking it, the whole Christmas thing, every single thing that Jehovah's Witnesses used to knock on your door and tell you that you shouldn't be doing it because it was coming from them, you just discounted them as crazy. They have a little bit of truth in what they're saying because here it is in our faces right now. You know what I mean?
absolutely, and so it's no surprise when you hear the son who walked the earth and his teachings, and he tells you flat out. He says, "Look, man, you have all these traditions that you do, and you're washing the outside of the cup. You're washing the outside of the cup,
Hmm.
and you're doing all of these things like it. You're doing all these things like it, and in the process of keeping with the traditions of man, you are nullifying. You are null and void. You are making null and void the commandments of the Most High." And he uses this rhetoric often. He says, you are whitewashed tombs. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful, nice tomb. It's all whitewashed and got the plaster on it, and it's beautiful. But on the inside is bones and mold and mildew and corruption and death. It's the same thing of that outside of that cup. It's the same thing as no, we're making it Valentine's Day. That's the outside of the cup, but the inside of the cup is Lupercalia. And what we are doing in the process is we are making null and void the commandments of the Most High when we adhere to the traditions of men. You with me?
Oh, I'm with you, lock, stock, and barrel.
Okay. Okay. So
Well,
if you scroll down to the next paragraph, pardon me, if you scroll down to the next paragraph, it just gives you a quick synopsis of what they did during
so
this festival Lupercalia.
do you want me to read that or you got it?
I can't unless you would like to. I can.
Because okay, so each Lupercalia began with the sacrifice by lupracy. Is that lupracy of goats and a dog, which
The Luperci. The
the
Luperci.
luperci of goats and a dog. Okay, after which two of the luperci were led to the altar, and their foreheads were touched with a bloody knife, and the blood was wiped off with wool dipped in milk. That is a ritual. Wool dipped in milk. Wow. I don't want to go on that, but I know what wow. So the ritual required that two young men laugh. Hmm.
Okay, okay, just pause real quick. So
Yeah.
the Luperci are the priests of Lupus, which is the wolf.
Isn't it ironic we have an illness with that name?
Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. Um, because all of our terminology either comes from I'm sorry, all of our scientific terminology and medical terminology either comes from the Greek or comes from the Latin. So yeah, definitely lupus. But it's the priest, the Luperci are the priests of lupus, which is a wolf. So you have a wolf priest. So these are obviously priests that are that are representing wolves. And I can't get away from the danger of the wolf in the sheep's clothing, telling you this is cool, this is acceptable, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you need to be doing if you are a citizen of Rome. But if you have come out of her and not interested in partaking in her plagues, then you would not be of this world. You just be in it. You just be hanging out, waiting for the
Hmm.
kingdom to come.
Come on.
So Luperci are the priests that perform this ritual, and then so you have the blood dipped in milk. Uh, this is not the purification portion of the ritual. This is the fertility portion of the ritual. Blood dipped in milk. I mean, these are representations of bodily fluids. If you understand what I'm saying without
That's
saying.
exactly what it is. And I was thinking about the whole spirit cooking thing. I'm not gonna knock nothing. No,
That exactly,
you know
exactly,
what I'm saying.
exactly.
I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see this. I see this. Y'all see this. And so you get a lot of these people that everyone hails as a hero for their their superstars, and and all of that stuff. And yeah, and everybody is all into this stuff, and it's just, oh, it was just a symbol, it was just a joke, it wasn't really serious. No, you meant that what they did is what they meant. Hmm. That's right.
All right. Yeah. Continue reading or
Okay.
did you want me?
No, I got you. So the two men laughed. Now I don't know if you guys remember it or not, but there was a laughing spirit that they had going through Christendom.
Ooh, Kenneth Copeland and them.
Okay, that's right. And so everybody
With
was just ha ha ha
Kenneth.
ha laughing, and they would just start off laughing. And I remember being at a visiting place. I went to visit somewhere, and they all just broke out with this, and it to me was just the most demonic thing that I've ever seen. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just knew that there was something wrong with this whole thing. But at one point, a lot of churches were doing this, and it was definitely a spirit that was sweeping in their churches. And it's because of the fact that there was a little leaven that leavened the whole lump. There was a little bit of sacrifice that they had given that they would yield to, and this is why these things came into the church, and people mistook this stuff as godly, and it was not. But it says that the ritual required the two young men laugh. The sacrificial feast followed, after which the Luperci cut thongs from the skin of the sacrificial animals and ran in two bands around the Plataean hill, striking with the thongs at any woman. There's another word there. You see that word thongs? Look at all these things that are all tying into demonic stuff. At any woman, let me move the mouse out here, who came near them. A blow from a thong was supposed to render a woman fertile.
Okay. So yeah, we can stop right here with this slide or what have you. But so just a nutshell of the synopsis is okay, so when we ate, that spirit cooking that you're talking about. So of course, after all of this ritual, we're going to have a feast. And this is the feast. So we're going to eat that dog and we're going to eat that goat. And what's really really interesting is the goat was uh the fertility sacrifice. Pardon me. The goat was the fertility sacrifice, and the dog was the purification sacrifice. And that is completely contrary to what Yahusha said. He said that the dogs don't even get like I'm not even gonna feed you scraps off I can't do that. I have to give the children bread. And then the lady was like, yeah, but at least I can get some scraps. And she was calling, the dogs are unclean animals, but here in the Roman construct, the dog is the purification sacrifice.
I want
Why?
to. I'm sorry. I do want to mention something because very important. Very important. The next, before we leave this slide, very important. In 494 CE, for those who still want to hold on to their sacred cow, got a little something for you.
There you
So,
go.
so they wanted to shroud this thing, right? And of course, Rome, having the Pope, decided let's sort of shroud this. All right. So in 494, the CE, well, they keep doing this CE stuff. I don't understand it, but it's 494 AD. The Christian church under Pope, it looks like Galatius the
Hmm.
first, forbid participation in the festival. Tradition holds that he appropriated the form of the rite as the feast of purification. Candlemas celebrated in February on February the 2nd, but it is likely that the Christian feast was established in a previous century, in the previous century, and it has also been alternately suggested that that same pope replaced Lupercalia with St. Valentine's Day, celebrated on February the 14th, but the origin of that holiday was much likely later. So, what they attempt to do is they want to take everything and just stick it under something else and stick it under something else and then stick it under something else. And if you're not digging and digging and digging and pulling, you'll just say, see, that was it. They did away with it. And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem. They just gave it a different name. That's exactly what they did. Ronnie, that was an exceptional teaching, and I know that you have more for us this evening. Is the mic still hot? Because if it's not, then that means the place that I have it at right now is okay. Because I had it really loud. Because last time it was really really low. You couldn't hear it. So we're going to get right into what Ronnie has for us this evening, and I think you guys are going to find that the similarities are all striking with regards to what it is that they do for all of these different holidays and whatnot for them. All right, there we go, Ronnie. It's up on the screen.
Yeah, as far as what you were saying, if the mic's hot or not, it's
Mhm.
coming off a little hot on my end, but I don't know how the audience is perceiving it as far as
Okay, well, I'm
audible.
going to listen on the other side while you introduce this slide.
All right. So yeah, so we've been talking about the okay, so the word pagan is actually taken out of context in today's colloquialisms. Pagan doesn't necessarily mean something evil. It just it's a basic generic word for something that is of religious value. All across the board. It doesn't necessarily matter what religion or spiritual spiritualness of the situation is. It's just pagan. So somebody who is contrary to Christianity, they think they could actually um, as honestly say that Christianity is pagan because it is a form of religiosity, if you will. So yeah. So in the sense of paganism, it's just somebody else's religion. But what's quite interesting, we'll just use the terminology how everybody interprets it, in today's type of lingo. So what's quite interesting is every single one of these Roman holidays has traces and hints of paganism in its origin and in its foundation, except for Halloween. How quite interesting. Halloween is actually a Catholic, specifically, um, event, feast. It is a feast. It's a feast day. It's All Hallows Eve today, and then All Hallows Day, or All Hallows. Uh, well, let's look into it. Let's just look into it. But what's very telling is, like I said, this is solely an original Catholic holiday. And the Catholic Church comes from the Holy Roman Church, the Holy Roman Church. So this is a Roman holiday at its root. This is the pristine premier um, holiday, feast day of Rome. So, our can I share it so I can start?
Yeah, go right ahead and share it. And then I also wanted to bring the attention to the fact that they're doing something this weekend that I would consider very significant on a world scale. And it's just ironic that they would choose this weekend to do that. And you know what I'm talking about, Ronnie?
Yeah, there's a global gathering of all of the major players. About 20 of them. Then they're all getting together in Rome this weekend.
Mm, isn't that amazing?
And what's interesting is it's called a summit.
Isn't that amazing?
And a summit is the top of a mountain.
Deplorical, I want to thank you. You said here's $20. Battery died in case I can't make it back. Well, I sure appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you are able to make it back. Thank you. And thank you for anyone else who is going to give this evening. Thank you in advance. And we're going to continue on with Ronnie's portion here. And I think it's important for us to know the reason why we do not do these and we don't give in. I think that's important because, a lot of times we'll have kiddies, little children, and we're like, well, we just don't want to prevent them from having fun. Well, the fact is that this would not be considered fun if we all really knew the basis. I mean, it's one thing when we see the ghouls and the goblins and all of that. But to understand the spiritual connotations behind it is exactly why we don't. And Ronnie, I appreciate you for bringing all this to us on a base level, just the bottom level. So I'm going to let you go on ahead, but I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Do I have access to this screen? Like, can you see?
Yeah, that's your screen. Yep, you got it.
So you see me fidgeting and tossing around?
Most
Okay.
assuredly, we see you fiddle-faddling.
All right, so this is called CatholicCompany.com. I'm reading straight off of their website. Nothing fancy, nothing outrageously in depth that you had to go pull up in the archives or in the catacombs. No pun, well, pun intended. You didn't have to pull it up from anywhere overtly occultish. This is straight from the Catholic Company website, which is a Catholic website.
Okay.
And we have a front screen thumb of a jack-o'-lantern. So it says a Catholic's Guide to Halloween. Catholics and Halloween, a good or bad mix. And I'm just going to read, and we can all just soak in this information together. The short answer, should we not celebrate it? The short answer is the true substance of Halloween belongs to the Catholic Church.
Let that sink in.
The true substance of Halloween belongs to the Catholic Church.
Wow.
This is an original. This is a Catholicism original.
And remember, we just discussed that they consider themselves the premier leader of the Christian religion. This is what they say on their and from the Vatican. That's right from their words. That's from
Right.
their mouth.
So reiterating, this is a original. This is a Catholic original, and it comes from the Holy See, if you will, which is Rome. And this is not borrowed from quote unquote paganism. This is solely straight from what they have going on specifically. Interestingly enough, it says any violence, any gore, any sensuality or demonism now commonly associated with Halloween is not, in fact, true to the origins of this day. By the way, the word holiday comes from the words holy day.
Correct.
So they acknowledge that.
Hmm.
It says, and I'm reading verbatim what's going
Yeah,
on. It says,
yeah, that's good.
what's true and false about the origins of Halloween? Here are the facts. And scrolls to the end for a guide on how to celebrate Halloween as a Catholic.
Wow. Play by play.
What is Halloween? The word Halloween comes from All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve is the vigil of All Saints Day. So this is the watch. This is
Hmm.
the evening. This is watch night
Mm.
for All Saints Day.
Okay.
All also known as All Hallows Day. The word hallow means holy. In the Our Father we pray, hallowed be thy name.
Correct.
All Saints Day is a holy day of obligation and thus a major feast on the Catholic Church's liturgical calendar.
Okay.
Um, All Saints Day honors not only the saints in heaven, whom we know by name, but also any saints in heaven whose names are unknown. So
Wow.
one, so off the rip, we can see that this is a form, if not all the way, but at least it has suggestions and roots in man worship.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
You see the correlation?
Yeah,
Because
I do.
It's All Saints Day,
Hmm.
and some of these um, saints, or let's look at it through a Catholic lens, if you will. These
Yeah.
saints are disciples, are apostles, are prophets, are saints. So and of course they are men. So inadvertently they carry a message, and in the Hebrew, message is malak, and malak in the English is
Mm.
translated to angel. So in a form of this is angel worship.
And then is it Malak like Molek Malak?
Well, it's all the same word. It's
Right?
all the
Okay,
same word.
so that I get the understanding. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And we know what, Molek is. The United States, Rome as a whole has that as a really big problem.
So Molech, just touching on what you said, Molech is a derivation of the same word malak. Malak means king
Mhm.
in Hebrew, but it also means messenger in the Hebrew as well. But the thing is that it's the same word that means both king and messenger, because the king was the messenger of the Elohim in the ancient mindset.
Mhm.
So if you were a king, you automatically were a messenger of the Elohim.
Mhm.
And everything, because everything that you said out of your mouth was,
Yeah.
divine.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Trying to find the right words to say divine. That's not a right word,
I know.
but that gives the connotation that of what we can wrap our minds around. So yeah. So this is a form of angel worship. This is clearly a type of man worship,
Mhm.
because we are. So this is the vigil right now. What we're doing, we're watching, but we're commanded to watch other feasts. We're commanded to watch for other feasts in the scripture, but this is a major feast on the Catholic Church's liturgical calendar, and we are. Uh, so since it's a major feast, we are a holy day of obligation. We are obligated. We are obliged to watch this evening for All Saints Day tomorrow, for Man Worship Day tomorrow. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be facetious. Let's just read. Let's just read. Um,
You don't want to embellish?
I'm sorry.
Why you don't want to put no earrings on the pig? You put some earrings and lipstick on the pig. It's okay.
I don't want to put my opinions in here. I just want to read the facts.
Yeah, just okay. So that's right. Just stick with the facts. Let's read it as it is because this is a trip. Now listen very carefully, everyone, as he begins to talk about these popes and different installations of this. It'll blow your mind.
So it says, why is Halloween on October 31st?
Hmm.
Pope Gregory III transferred the Feast of All Saints from its former day of May 13th to November 1st to coincide with the foundation of the new chapel at St. Peter's Basilica, which he dedicated to all the saints in heaven. Okay, so this is what I want to touch on just briefly before we move on, is that the popes can actually switch days around, whatever they deem appropriate, or for whatever reason they deem appropriate. And it says that once upon a time, All Saints Day was May 13th, but they shifted it and transferred the feast to November 1st to coincide with the new chapel that was being built, St. Peter's Basilica. So what I'm getting at is the actual true feasts of Yah that are in scripture, they are non-transferable. As far as moving dates, they are fixed on Yah's calendar. They cannot be moved.
That's
They
right.
cannot be moved because these are appointed times. These days are actually irrelevant days if you can shift it. They're not appointed times if you can shift them around on the celestial calendar.
Correct.
They're
Correct.
arbitrary. These days are arbitrary. But they obligate us to reverence them like they are not arbitrary, and that they are vital as far as uniformly, if you will. But the
Let me ask I was going to ask you a quick question. I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
There are no feast days in the month of May for us. For their Gregorian calendar. No, there aren't. Mm-mm.
It depends.
For the month of May.
As far as their Gregorian calendar is concerned, because May could sometimes be, because the Gregorian calendar is based on solely solar.
Mm-hmm.
It's a calculation based solely on the solar aspects of the celestials. So
The reason why I was go ahead.
sometimes May can be the second month on the biblical calendar, and there is a second Passover for those who have missed the first Passover.
Okay.
In the second month.
But you know what I was thinking? For the end of October, going into November, these days are really sort of jam-packed together, right along with, like, for example, some of the feast days that we just came off of. And so I just look at how they sort of strategically place the days. So even though they say, they changed it from May 13th to October 31st, I just can't help but think that they're chasing something, and they always do things on purpose. So I don't know, but your point is well taken, that Yah's feast days are what they are.
Well, they could care less about a second Passover.
And that's what I was thinking.
So
Yeah.
it's irrelevant. So what I said that holds firm and holds fast to the scripture as far as a second Passover in the second month, that is irrelevant in the Roman prefect's mind.
But as October is around, it takes you right into what they have for their Christmas holiday. So it's like it keeps you off of the actual feast days. If you're wrapped up into this stuff, it'll throw you completely off. You'll have all these little things that are like right back to back with each other. You know what I mean? In the world, you have, you know what I'm saying? You got like the Thanksgiving, and then you got this, and you got the Halloween, and then the Thanksgiving, and the Christmas. But you totally, if you're wrapped up into this, and you're trying to get your mind out of Rome, This will definitely distract you because the days are running right behind you, like literally 1 month after the other. And it runs you right into their Christmas, which is what they try to tell us, well, it actually maybe it is their Jesus's birthday. I don't know, but for us, I know that these things are starting right after one of our last feast days for this particular period of time, because we're coming back up again on another feast that's a few months away. But anyway, I digress. It's just I was just trying to figure out why would they move it, and I was thinking, well, maybe it's because it's right after one of our major feast days. I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
No. We can speculate these things, but clearly, out of the Catholics' mindset, they said that it was specifically Pope Gregory's decision back in the 700s to coincide with the grand opening of St. Peter's Basilica.
Oh, yes.
And that's when they dedicated St. Peter's Basilica to all the saints in heaven.
And it's an All Saints Day that like they said, All Saints Day. That's really creepy. Just go ahead, because they're such necromancers. They really are necromancers.
They absolutely are. Well, I don't want to say anything that sounds. They definitely, there's necromancing involved. There's clearly necromancing at play. But but as far as St. Peter's Basilica being dedicated to all the saints in heaven, that is so interesting that they need a chapel. They need a basilica in heaven, like as if there's not the temple in heaven. It's I don't know. It's just a weird thought pattern to me. The temple is in the heavenlies, so I don't know why we would need to dedicate St. Peter's Basilica to these saints that are in heaven, unless they're in some other place that I don't know. But this is a major takeaway that I would like to emphasize, is the fact that if you can shift a holy day around a calendar, that lets you know that it's arbitrary, and that as far as anything of reverence and anything of sound sanctity is concerned, it is irrelevant. It is irrelevant. Meanwhile, when you look at Yah's feast days, he commands that we do it specifically at these specific times, because they are appointed times. These are fixed on the celestial calendar, and they do not move because they are the actual appointed times. So what's going on here is that they give you a red herring, and you need to look over here and pay no attention. Look over here, pay no attention to what's going on, what's really going on. Just look at the grandeur of what we have constructed for you. Moving forward on this next bullet point, it says Halloween is on October 31st because All Saints Day is November 1st. All Souls Day is on November 2nd. So big ups to the saints on November 1st, and then big ups to everybody else on November 2nd.
Big ups.
So,
Ronnie, when you get a second, I want to show everybody something. Can I just take this off for a second, just so that I can show everybody one important thing? You guys, I want you guys to see that in tandem with what we're sharing on screen, I want you to take a look at this right here. Hold on just a moment, and I'm going to bring this to your attention, and then we're going to go directly back to what Ronnie is showing right now. And so that way, I want to drive this home. I want to drive it. This comes from LearnReligions.com, Christianity Statistics. The major Christian traditions, Roman Catholic Church. The Roman Catholic Church denomination is the largest Christian group in the world today, with more than 1 billion followers, constituting about half of the world's Christian population. Brazil has the largest number of Catholics with 134 million. More than Italy, France, and Spain combined. So it breaks it down after the Roman Catholic, and then it brings you all of the other branches up under Roman Catholicism. So I want to drive it home that as we continuously drive our attention away from the fact that we're not quote unquote Catholic, Catholics are Christians. Christians are Catholics. If you follow this, you'll understand why you have to come out of Rome in its entirety. Because my job is to shake it loose. Our job is to shake it loose. And I feel as if a lot of us are not getting that point. We hear about the Rome. We hear about Rome. We hear about all the stuff that Rome does and how we need to come out of Babylon, how we need to come out of, but we fail to realize that the majority, if not all, of the ideology that we have obtained under Christianity is steeped in its mother, which is Rome, which is Catholicism. Go ahead, Ronnie. I'll give your screen back as I mute myself.
Okay, so I can qualify this by going to scripture, but let's just talk about it because this is where it's a branch off of what we're discussing right now, but it is so relevant. But let's just discuss it real quick. So make no mistake about it, Rome is not the beast. Rome is not the beast. Rome is the and I'm getting this information from Revelation, from the book of Revelation, among other places. Like, I mean, there's a lot of places, but Revelation specifically speaks on it as far as the 66 canonical books are concerned. Rome is not the beast. Rome is the whore of Babylon. Rome is the rider on the beast.
That's right. That is right. That is correct. That is
So
correct.
Rome rides the beast. She is the rider of the beast. She's on
Hmm.
she, and
She's on the back, yeah.
yeah, and she's dressed in scarlet and purple and gold, and she is extravagantly elegant looking. And she says, "I am no widow." She is awesome. She is queen of the hill. Um, so she is the whore of Babylon, and we have to understand that the whore of Babylon is the mother of all harlots.
That's right. Cynthia Wood has it here on the screen. She says, I think Rome is the whore of Babylon. Absolutely so. You're absolutely correct.
So so she is the mother of all harlots. That's Rome. The harlots is every single offspring of the churches that she has mothered. Please, I'm saying this real slow because I want us to grasp this concept. She, she is the mother of all harlots. She has birthed the church. Every single offspring from the churches, and every single offspring from the churches of the churches, and every single offspring of the churches of the churches of the churches, so on and so forth throughout history are harlots, and she is the mother of them all. This is
Exactly. Mhm.
this is what I want to hone in on. A good tree cannot produce bad fruit,
Yes.
and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say this
Absolutely.
again.
Drive it home.
A bad tree cannot produce good fruit. It doesn't matter how good it looks, it doesn't matter how good it smells. If it's coming from a bad tree, it is bad fruit. It is impossible for a bad tree to produce good fruit. This is Yahweh Shah's teaching himself. And we honed in on this on this
At the
when we
top
were
of the week,
speaking.
I think it was. Yeah. The
Yeah,
top of the last week or something.
we were speaking on Constantine,
Yes.
um, and we touched on that. But I want to make that parallel connection that this bad fruit, this bad tree is the whore of Babylon that rides the beast, and that is Rome, and she does not produce any good offspring. Her produce is sour fruit, no matter what we've been led to believe, no matter what the people that are perpetuating the bad fruit believe, it's bad fruit. It's bad fruit, and it's
It's bad fruit.
impossible
Hmm.
for a bad tree to produce good fruit.
That's
Please
good.
understand
That's a
what I'm
good point.
saying.
That's a good
Please
point.
understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Just want to throw that out there. She's the whore of Babylon, and she is the mother of all harlots. Not some, not
Oh,
almost all, not except for that good church around the corner. That's a good one. No, she's the mother of all harlots.
you know while you were making your point, Cynthia Wood, we posted what she said, and it's on the screen. She says a pregnant serpent, and that was shortly after she made the statement. That she says I think that Rome is the whore of Babylon, a pregnant serpent, and that is exactly in line with what Ronnie was just sharing. It's absolutely right. This is absolutely right. And it's important for us to keep driving that home, you guys. Let that sink in. As you do your study, as you read the word, let that sink in and detach yourself from that idea altogether. Empty yourself out and restore yourself with the true word. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Right, because the whole concept of church comes from the Roman paradigm. So I mean, like what so this whole church structure is firmly off base if the foundation of it is Roman. So let's go ahead and continue reading.
Are you having fun sharing, Ronnie?
I
Sharing the screen on your side. Does it feel liberating?
It's a little bit daunting because I'm in Fumbleville right now.
Well, you better do like our friend used to say all the time, Black Spring with Autumn. She says double fisting. You got to learn how to double fist it. She had the cutest colloquialisms.
Yeah, she does. She does.
Yeah, she does.
All right. Okay. So Halloween. This is the second bullet point on why is Halloween on October 31st. Second bullet point, it says Halloween is on. This is a review because we just said it, but just to get us back on track, it says Halloween is on October 31st because All Saints Day is November 1st. All Souls Day is November 2nd. These 3 days taken together are the days of the dead. Necromancy. Okay.
Yep.
A triduum of feasts, also called All Hallow Tide.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the Yule Tide, coming up in a couple months, and then you have right now you have the Hallow Tide, or Hallow Tide, or Hallow Mass.
Hollow Moss. Hey, Maynard.
Hallow meaning saint or holy, and Mass meaning mass. So you have the Christos Mass coming up, and then right now we're having the All Hallow Mass or the Hallow Tide, and the coming up is the Christo Mass, which is also the Yule Tide. So one and the same, one and the same, one and the same. Halloween is third bullet point. Therefore, the first day of All Hallow Tide. So this is a 3-day feast found nowhere in Scripture. Moving on, the time of year when the living, the church militant, honor all the dead in Christ, the saints in heaven, the church triumphant, as well as all the holy souls detained in purgatory on their way to heaven, the church suffering. It is a beautiful celebration of the communion of saints. So,
Beautiful, and it's all dead. Literally. Ghouls and goblins, but it's beautiful. Wow.
this is what we believe, people. This is our belief system, people. And you don't necessarily believe this, but the roots of what you believe
It's
are
steeped in
founded
it.
in this.
Thank you, Amy. That's
And
right.
this is what we celebrate when we go, when we dress our kids up. We are indoctrinating our children to foolishness. We got to
Yeah.
stop doing this.
Somebody made a good point in the chat earlier, and I forget who it was, but they made the point about, oh, that's the reason why they give the kids candy bars to go up to strangers and get. Out of all of our lives, we tell our kids to stay away from strangers, don't speak to strangers, don't take things from strangers, and then we do absolutely the opposite. But if they're giving you candy and you're in a costume, it's okay. Whoo, yeah, but this is the truth. I mean, we all did it. And you know what? I remember when I was still steeped in Catholicism in the Christian church, we would switch up the name for it. We would call it Hallelujah Night. And we would still do the same thing, not understanding that even though you claim you're doing it as hallelujah, but then again, being in Christianity, you get this pious mindset that tells you you're not a part of that. Now, we're Christians, we're better than the Catholics. Yeah, dude, you're Catholic. But my
Yeah.
point is, we used to switch it out. Yeah.
So what's interesting about that is that if you're not a Catholic and you're a Christian, you're called a Protestant, and you protested against the Catholic Church, and you're a branch of the Catholic Church called Protestantism.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
it's right here.
so
Yeah.
you're still branched off. You're
Yeah, right up
still
under what we were just reading. It does say that. It says there are approximately 800 million Protestants in the world, comprising 37% of the global Christian population. The United States has more Protestants than any other country, with 160 million, but are about 20% of the worldwide number of Christians. And the head of the Christian church is the Roman Catholic Church, by what we just read, by their own admission. Yeah.
so Protestants are still a branch off of the same tree.
Yep. Same roots.
So I don't know. We fool ourselves into thinking that we're different. We're, if anything, we're cousins. Or the long lost brother that went away or whatever. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, we are not supposed to be related at all. Like this is unrelatable. This needs to be foreign to you. So, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, but mind you, there's necromancy going on.
Yeah.
So
A lot of it.
let's look at the next bullet point. It says Pope Gregory the Fourth extended the Feast of All Saints. So they have the power to. So once again, this is an arbitrary thing, and it's not fixed in the celestials. If you can extend it on the whim of a human being. Once again, man worship. Pope Gregory the Fourth extended the Feast of All Saints, which was previously a local feast in Rome, to the universal church. So he said, hey, we're having so much fun over here in Rome. Let me extend this out to every other branch of what we have going on. And then if you're a Protestant, why are you celebrating Halloween? This is a Roman thing. This lets you know that you're still in Rome. Furthermore, if you're a Protestant and you've broken away, why are you submitting and relying on the Gregorian calendar? That lets you know that we're Protestant, that we're still Catholics, we're still Roman, we still have a Roman mindset. This is I'm sorry. This is why the eve of All Saints' Day, Halloween, came to be celebrated by Catholics around the world in their own cultural ways. It is customary, man's traditions of men. It is customary in historic Catholic Europe to have evening vigils with pious celebrations on the day before a major feast or solemnity. Pardon me, that word, to be solemn. The rhythms of people's lives and culture moved with the liturgical calendar. That's why a vigil was kept the evening before All Saints' Day and why Halloween exists at all. So this is vigil day. This is watch night. This is watch night. He says to keep watch, but he wasn't speaking on this. Every day, I'm sorry, even today, Catholics begin celebrating major feasts the evening before the big day. Excuse me. Christmas has Christmas Eve. All Hallows Day has All Hallows Eve. If you pray the divine office, you will see that the prayers for a big holy day begin the evening before, as though the feast had already arrived. Okay. And we are speaking on Halloween, everybody. Why do Catholics celebrate the days of the dead? Celebrating these Christian holy days helps remind the faithful of the reality of heaven and hell, the saints and the damned, demons and angels, and the holy souls suffering in purgatory. It reminds us to pray for the souls of the deceased. It is also a reminder that we too will one day die and should strive to live good and holy lives so that we can be ready to enter eternity and stand before God. Um, yeah, but I don't celebrate Halloween because of all of this. This isn't why I celebrate Halloween. The fact of the matter is, this is the root and the foundation of Halloween. So if you are celebrating it at all, what you're doing is perpetuating the original form of what it truly is.
But I like the candy and the kids have fun. It's for the kids. The kids have fun.
But you're extending it into the next generation.
But what if I don't believe that? I just think it's okay for the kids to have fun.
Well, I mean, I can't. That's what you have going on. I'm just telling you that this is where it stems from, and what you are doing is perpetuating it into the future. You're not perpetuating your own.
But Homer, there's nothing wrong with letting the kids go out and have a good time. I mean, they want to have a good time. Just let them take and get the candy from the neighbors. Go ahead. Why can't they just go get some candy, Homer? Hey, come on, read Unstoppable. Welcome. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, it's for the kids. Judah Queen says it's for the kids.
Yeah, so let's indoctrinate our kids into something to keep it good to.
They're gonna have a normal life. They can't just run around and just not have. They'll be considered nerds. And they can get some nerds if they go door to door. Okay, Asadi, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, I don't have a retort. I just don't have a retort.
But these are all the things that we as parents have found ourselves at one time or another saying. And it's like, it's okay. They're just kids. Let them have a childhood. Let them live their lives. But yet and still, it's our responsibility to raise them up. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I know.
Well, what we're doing is we're talking out both sides of our neck now. You know what I mean? Because we talk ill about certain aspects of Catholic religion or what have you, but then we perpetuate it through their traditions. And you can't speak ill on something and then go right back and give it praise. And then in the same token, speak ill about it, but you're steeped in it, but you're speaking ill about. I mean, that's.
Are you saying we're schizophrenic, Homer?
I mean, like.
Yeah, it is a little. It is a little backwards. It really is. Anthony Van Zant says, "Psst, dark duality. Apples never fall far from Lucy's material world pagan tree." As a note, don't ask the plastic Protestants why about anything, or we'll never get out of the joint.
That's true. Hey.
Anthony is too much. He is too much. Too much.
That was realistic. That is a realistic thought pattern. I mean,
yes, it is. Never get out.
We're perpetuating what it is we become clones, and then we're cut off clones. We don't even know why we're doing this anymore. We're just doing it. Exactly.
It's the because phrase. It's why. Because never has been a reason. Because, you know what, and another thing is I feel like a nitpicker tonight, and I don't want to be a nitpicker, but I got to pick this piece because this piece is starting to bug me. And here's what I want to say. I want everybody to understand when we all keep saying, oh, the Jesus. Ronnie unpacked it ever so eloquently, biblically, when we were dealing specifically with the whole Constantine, when we touched on the Flavians. It was broken down in such a way that you just cannot ignore it. Hop and send hi, how are you? You just can't ignore it. So what I want to do is I want us to look at this right quick, because this right here goes right along with everything that we're saying. And hey, this is important. If we're going to walk it, we need to make sure that we're remembering this. I want you guys to look at this right here. We all keep saying, oh, Jesus, 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 Jesus. Now, the reason why they affixed a picture to the quote Jesus that everybody knows about, right, is because they had to cover up for all of the stuff that they had done and when they slipped the Mickey in. All right. So we all know that the image that we're looking at right here is what they call Jesus. Okay. We all know the image we have of Jesus is not what he actually looks like. Who is the man in this portrait really? This is actually the portrait reincarnated as a man named Caesarea Borgia. This image did not appear until more than 1,000 years after the Mashiach roamed the earth, as they say. Caesarea Borgia is actually the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander. And what's the V5, Ronnie? The V and the 1? Is that the 5? It's the 6. Okay, it's the 6th. And so then it goes on to say 2 Thessalonians 2, 10, 12, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, Yah, in this case it says God, shall send them strong delusions, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now it goes on to give you all of the scriptures in that passage of 2 Thessalonians 2, 10 through 12. And I'll allow you all to, on your own, go on ahead and read that. But the reason why I brought that up is because it is so important for us to get out of this. You see what I mean? It's important for us to get out of it, because we're still holding on. And I'm seeing it so much more and more and more every day. Oh, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. We just broke it down the other day, how they arrived at that particular Christ that you see, that the Romans have bathed everybody in. It's totally unlearning everything you learned from Rome, and it's uncomfortable to separate from it. But tonight, I just feel it necessary, and I think you'd love me more if I just took the bandage and snatched it off really fast, as opposed to me pulling it off bit by bit, taking parts of your skin with it. No. So let's keep that in mind when we hold on to that. And Ronnie, I'm going to let you go. Go. Do it.
Yeah. Where were we? Halloween is a Catholic holiday. Okay. That's where we are now. So check this out. Is it true that the Catholic celebration of Halloween has some pagan roots? Halloween is a Catholic holiday. It does not have origins in paganism, Samhain, Druidic festivals, the occult, or Satanism. This common misconception is relatively new anti Catholic propaganda with roots going back to the Protestant Reformation. It has no basis in historical fact. So, this is a standalone. This is not taken and honed in on and recrafted and redesigned as a Catholic holiday from some type of ancient ritual or what have you. This is solely on them. No syncretism at all. And this is a Catholic website that we're reading, that from which we're reading, and it tells you that Halloween is a Catholic holiday, and we just saw forms of man worship, and we saw forms of necromancy in and of this holiday. So this in and of itself is rooted solely in Rome. That they have this. They have this. This is what they have. Other cultures and other religions have other things, but this is their own. This is what they have. This is theirs, out of their own acknowledgement. This common misconception is a relatively new anti-Catholic propaganda. That's just interesting that that this being in and of themselves isn't anti-Catholic propaganda. Well, not maybe not propaganda, but like just understanding this should be anti. Like you're shooting yourself in the foot.
In
Here
the
with your,
foot. Yeah. Yeah.
man. Okay. So moving forward and moving on to the next bullet point, many
Hmm.
people see the coincidence of dates between Samhain, and All Saints Day and presume a connection. However, it turns out the date is just that, a coincidence. We live in a world where there are coincidences. Okay. I really don't believe in, coincidence. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying like
Right.
it's
Right. But, we'll
in a
just move on.
grand, these people have grand designers. They are the grand architects of
Architects, that's what I was thinking. Hmm.
so
Yep. Yep. Grand architect.
yeah, so I wouldn't count on coincidences. Nonetheless, it says, where did the various Halloween traditions come from? English, Irish, and French immigrants, Germanic peoples.
Is that Japheth?
That is Yaphath. Yep.
Yaphath. Japheth.
That is
Japhath.
Japheth.
Yaphath.
Yep. That is Japheth. That is Japheth.
Now, he gets around. He really does. His tribe does a lot of stuff.
So English, Irish, and French immigrants, Japheth, yeah, been around the world, brought their variety of local Catholic customs to America. Dressing up for Halloween comes from the French. The French.
Which is
You're gonna
why
be
it's so popular there in Louisiana with throwing up the beads and walking through the streets of the dead. And as well as other, like Spanish cultures, Hispanic or, like Brazil and places like that.
So it's interesting who the Franks are. We'll dive into that one day, preferably and hopefully
Yeah.
one day soon,
Yeah.
because their stem is quite
Hmm.
interesting. Their
Yeah.
branch is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, dressing up for Halloween comes from the French. Jack-o'-lanterns come from the Irish, who originally carved turnips.
That's
The
right.
the English begged from door to door for soul cakes. So
Soul. Soul
soul cakes.
cakes.
So that's
Soul.
so we touched on spirit cooking earlier in the segment from another segment of what was it, back in February sometime.
Yeah, we did.
It was the
It was
Lupercalia.
yeah, Lupercalia,
Or
Valentine's. Well,
Valentine's
at
Day.
the top of the show, and then also I do want to point out something. It is not by accident that they consider those who are Haitian descent, people in the Louisiana area, who happen to have a darker form of melanin as soul. There is a purpose for that. And just last year, and it all ties together, believe it or not, it really does. Just last year, as well as up to the top of this year, they were fighting for the soul of America. And remember, your soul is the seat of your will. So none of these words are used by accident. They went door to door to collect soul cakes.
But English also has an awesome knack
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
for having double speak.
Oh, yes. Yes,
So
good point. Good point.
so if I say soul
Mm-hmm.
twice in one sentence, I very well could be saying two separate things.
With you remember what we just found out about the whole meta thing where it's double, it really is. So if it's soul, it's soul, if it's system, it's system, and they just changed the name, which I believe personally, I believe that they've actually sold it somebody else has purchased it, and we'll find that out soon. Is what I think is it, because I've been saying that, but nonetheless, the whole meta thing, it's a double, it's double. So just ponder all of this stuff and watch it all come together as Yah allows it to be unveiled. But that's a good point, Ronnie.
They sold it, huh? Okay, I'm sorry.
Well,
Okay.
but again,
Corny sense of
that's
humor.
yeah, it is. But see, that's just my thought process. When I first remember when the shutdown or that thing happened, and I kept asking, I ask a few other people, hey, if a company sells something, and I think it's because I remember when a company switched over, and I don't remember where I got that thought process. Could have just been from the Ruach, but what I perceived in my gut when I first heard that they were shut down for all that time, I said, that reminds me of when a company sells over, and what they do is they switch out the servers. They do that. They'll switch out the servers, and then one company will switch it out and transfer all data to the other people's servers. And so I just feel like in a minute we're going to hear somebody come up and say, I just couldn't take the stress anymore. It's just too much for me. We're moving on to different endeavors. And now here's the new owners. And it'll be sort of an unveiling, and the dragon will pop out. But that's me, you guys. It doesn't mean that it's any truth to it. I'm just telling you what I think. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yep. Like that. Like my brother Anthony. Like that. It's a cool cat.
Hey, Van Zant's one of the coolest brothers on the
Oh,
block.
that's a cold dude.
I'm just throwing that out there.
He is.
So,
Okay.
so look, we have these soul cakes, right? These are one and the same. The tradition stems from something that is one and the same when we're speaking on baking cakes to the Queen of Heaven. Soul cakes. Look up hot cross buns. Look up hot cross buns. These are actually the what the Catholics call.
Now that's
the,
deep.
yeah, look them up. Look them up. These are actually what the Catholics call the Eucharist, which is in actuality, literally, and I'm speaking from a Catholic mind. Literally the body, like actually, literally the body of their Christ.
And Ronnie,
which is what Eucharist means.
but they've never hidden it. That's the thing. It's always been where you could find it. The other day when you brought that up, I was like, oh wow, he is hitting on it.
Yeah, but I hit on it, but I backed up, but I didn't dive in. Okay, I'm not diving in on anything. I'm giving you. It's not superficial per se, but it's surface. I'm giving you surface, common knowledge, things actually. And I want. It is my desire that we all dive deep into finding these things out for ourselves and giving each other high fives on the back end, like, wow, man. And we come out of her and meet each other on the other side of the river.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah Brown says the first time I heard about the Eucharist, ew.
But these are the soul cakes. So that's the that's the little wafer. That's the little wafer.
For communion?
Yeah, it's all the same thing. Look up hot cross buns. Look up hot cross buns. Look it up. We think that we're just baking some buns, baking some yeast but why is there an X in the middle of it when it rises? And look up hot cross buns and then match it up. Let's not be ignorant to these facts. Let's not be naive to these realities. Let's actually connect these dots. These dots are plain as day, looking right at us, and they're laughing at us because they know that we're not connecting them. But yeah, do that. The English, they beg from door to door for soul cakes, promising to pray for the departed loved ones of those who gave them these treats. So, hey, you give me a treat, I'm going to pray for, the person who died. That's okay. So that's where.
No, I got it. I pulled it up, and I just I'm gonna. While you're there, I got it.
Okay,
yeah,
let me finish the sentence up.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, Um, they begged from door to door for soul cakes, promising to pray for the departed loved ones of those who gave them these treats.
Mm-hmm.
This being the origin of trick or treating. These
Mm-hmm.
traditions converged in the big
Mm-hmm.
American melting pot. It eventually became a popular nationwide activity for Halloween. Okay.
Okay, and I was trying to put it on after you were finished, but it doesn't seem to want to do it that way. Okay, so here is the origin. It says, where do hot cross buns come from? The symbolism, and then let's just go down here to the origin and history. Most sources agree that hot cross buns dates back to the early 1700s, but according to one version, hot cross buns originated in the 14th century in Albans in St. Albans, and it looks like Hertford, England. A monk of the St. Albans Monastery, Thomas Redcliffe, apparently developed a recipe. Okay, but I want to get down. Oh, the evangelism. Here we go. Is that where we're going? The evangelism part of it?
I'm not sure what information that they're bringing to the table about it. So
Okay, well, I have this one right here. I have the other one. I have another portion of it too. So let's just do that because I see another one that's a little bit, it deals with Easter. Is that the one you want with Ishtar? I'm trying to get down to.
it's all the same because it all goes back to the Queen of Heaven.
Oh, okay. So it goes back to that. All right. Well, cool beans. Here it is.
But here we see that in the Catholic faith, they're begging for soul cakes, which are cakes that are baked to Ishtar inadvertently. Inadvertently. So once again, we have mother worship going on in Catholicism. It all ties into the same what data bank.
So let me just read it here. It says, although the cross on the hot cross buns is only decorative for most people, it reminds us as Christians of Christ's victory on the cross. Do try the following evangelism ideas. Now, this is obviously coming from a Christian standpoint that accepts it and understands from their standpoint what they're talking about, and they are talking about Ishtar or Easter egg hunts with children. Okay, which all takes you back to the Queen of Heaven. All right, now up at the top here, and I'm going to give you guys the link in just a few minutes, but up at the top, it feeds you the Catholicism, and then the second part brings you into current Christianity. And it does take you to the wafers over here on another page that I have. It says, it's traditionally made with raisins and currants and all that other stuff, but it says for Christians, the cross represents the crucifixion of Jesus, and the spices inside the bun symbolizes the spice that was put on the body of Jesus after he died. The buns are best served hot, yada, 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 all that other stuff. Shanana, shanana. And then it says, where do they originate from? It goes back to the other theories, going back to the 14th century with the Anglican monk baked the buns at St. Albans Abbey, and then he called them Alban bun, then distributed them to the poor on Good Friday. Everything is going back to the Queen of Heaven. All of these things are leading back to Ishtar, which takes you directly back to Rome. Now, it goes on to say that in 1582, the London clerk of the markets issued a ban on the sale of the buns by bakers. This was because of the superstitions that the buns carried medicinal or magical properties. Elizabeth I of England passed a law permitting them only to be sold at Easter and Christmas, and it's not good for you. Okay, but you could do it on Christmas and Easter. Right. Then it says the English got around this law by baking the buns at home, and eventually the law was rescinded due to the popularity of the treat. The first recorded reference of the hot cross buns was in Poor Robin Almanac in the 1700s. It read, Good Friday, quote, Good Friday comes this month. The old woman runs with 1 or 2 penny to the hot cross buns, close quote. And then it does have the English nursery rhyme that was first published, and it's hot cross buns, 1 halfpenny, 2 halfpenny, hot cross buns. If you have no daughters, give them to your sons. 1 halfpenny, 2 halfpenny, hot cross buns. I don't know why I feel like I'm saying Candyman, Candyman 3 times, but anyway, there's that.
But that lets you know that man's laws are arbitrary as well, because based on popularity, I can change up these laws. There are laws that are finite and that are literally universal, not universal in the sense of Catholic, because in actuality, the word Catholic means universal. The word Catholic, kathal, it means universal. So, but there are actual, and that's why they call themselves Catholic, because they are the universal authority, not just the world authority or the earth's authority, but they are the universe's authority. um yeah, the whole, so Cathal is universal, but there are universal laws, which are Yah's laws, that are not
Mm-hmm.
arbitrary, that are exceptionally finite, that do not
Mm-hmm.
move. They are fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that, so that lets you know that there is a difference between these concepts, because we can adjust and switch things around based on popularity. Then that's really not, that's not an unshakable foundation. That's basically my point. But as far as these hot cross buns are concerned, we have to connect the dots. Yeah, they're talking about something that they did for Christmas and for Easter, and then you bake cakes specifically, um, at the fertility feast, or the quote unquote spring equinox feast, or what have you, um, which which colloquially we call Easter. But connect the dots, they're all one and the same. That's the baking of the cakes, in which case the soul cakes that they were giving out to the little English babies that went around knocking on the doors, stems from Halloween. We have to make the connection. We have to make the connection. Also
Yeah, without
understand
a
that these
doubt.
are
Without a doubt.
the, that these are all ancient Germanic peoples. We got to
Japheth.
understand that too. We have to understand that too.
Japheth.
Yeah.
Japheth. We got to keep in minds, because we were going to do tonight. I was going to just play the Gentile nations. It's a little longer, but I was going to play them all and let them all just run. I may do that tomorrow. Just let them start at 3 o'clock and let them run, because I think once we begin to hone in on all the points that over the year have been represented, we will see the roads go through one of Noah's sons. One of them. I mean, there's several other things as well, but this particular branch or root, it's all out of him, and it's all Rome. You know what I mean? It's all Rome, right, Ronnie?
It's all wrong.
I see you over there playing with your buttons. Go ahead. Look at you just
Unlike
scrolling.
unlike people today
Uh huh.
who avoid the topic of death, our ancestors were very realistic and sober about it. They knew that death was unavoidable and could come at any moment, and they used this reality as a powerful moral lesson. So, Halloween is a powerful moral lesson. Halloween is a powerful moral lesson. This is where we get our
Especially for
morality from.
us. Okay.
This is where we get our wake up call to morality,
Mm.
is from
That's what that
Halloween.
say? Is that what that says?
But it inadvertently is
They
telling you.
tripping. They're tripping. We're not saying that. That's coming out of the document we're sharing. But yeah, that's where they want us. That's what they want us to believe. Yeah, that is.
Where did misconceptions of Halloween come from? When European Catholics immigrated to predominantly Protestant America, bringing cultural Catholic customs with them, these customs were denounced as pagan. New England Puritans once banned the celebration of Christmas and Easter, with a exclamation point to emphasize the audacity of such an idea.
Say it again.
When European Catholics immigrated to predominantly Protestant America, bringing cultural Catholic customs with them, these customs were denounced as pagan. New England Puritans once banned the celebration of Christmas and Easter. Just a side note, oh man, don't quote me on the date. But if it wasn't 1906, it was 1903. But look it up. Look it up. Prove me wrong, and tighten me up on the date. But that's when Christmas, like Christmas wasn't a thing. Christmas was a thing in America, and then they realized the craziness of it all and the origin of it all. And it
Wow.
was banned in America. It was banned in America, and it only became a viable. The only reason it became a what it
A
is
thing.
because of economics.
And that makes sense at
Coca-Cola
all.
brought Coca-Cola brought Christmas to the forefront of the economic of the American economy.
Why? Because it was a
Coca-Cola
real thing?
with the whole Santa advertisement, with the whole Santa
Yeah. Yes.
and it, 1906, 1903. It
I
was the
could look
early
it up.
1900s. It was the
I'm
early
I'm
1900s when Christmas became a viable commodity for economic purposes. That's the only reason. Once again, these are the laws. These are the laws of men, which are arbitrary, and they can switch up
anytime they
depending
want.
on. Yeah,
I'm peeling an
exactly.
orange for Joshua, or I would look it up, but I'm peeling an orange for him.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm saying to the community at large, look these things up and find
Mhm.
the origins of why. Like
Mhm.
so when we were born, Christmas was the thing, and so because we
Yeah.
never think about where and what and when and how and why, we just assume. A lot of these things are assumptions that it's always been a thing, but a lot of us just 50, 60 years ago when we were born, just 50, 40, 50, 60 years prior, Christmas was not a thing,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
condemned.
Yeah. 100 years at
It,
least. 100,
well,
for
I mean,
sure.
as far as when we were born, some of us are 40, some of us are 50, some of us are 60 years old. You know,
Deb
but
Wood
yeah,
says when they had cocaine and Coca Cola, yeah, they were
yeah.
speeding around trying to get the house finished. The jams just speeding around, meow, all through the stores.
But yeah, they did the whole Santa Claus thing, and that was like a huge. That man, that marketing campaign
It was big. I think Coca
was
Cola to me,
huge.
when you mentioned that, I remember that one old Santa with the big beard with the Coca Cola, and it was like a big billboard. So that does bring that to my mind.
That's where with the
Yeah.
white gloves and the super white
Yes.
beard,
Yes. With the super white beard and the
extreme,
big jovial cheeks with the red.
extremely
Yes.
jolly,
Yes.
uh,
But you
like
touched on
vibrant
that
red.
last year. I think you
I
touched
did,
on
I
that.
did,
Yeah.
I did,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how he was, really extremely jolly, and it was all about. You know what the funny thing is that they try to get our buy-in as a whole. Yes, and he would wink. Yes, they try to get all of our buy-in with making things fun and for the kids. Conversely, whenever they want to sell something, of the opposite direction, they do. Oh, it's for the kids. Oh, it's for the kids. So it's all they center everything around with the kids. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's Halloween for Christmas with the jovial guy coming down the chimney. With if something had come down our chimney, in real life, we would have screamed. But the point is that is exactly what it's all geared toward, and it captures the children. Because a lot of parents
Absolutely.
won't let it go if the kids want to do it. You know what I mean?
And exactly. So now we have the children running the household, running running the politics of the household, and that's wise.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
well,
sorry. That was
no,
facetious.
no,
I'm sorry.
no. But to be honest, that's exactly where it's going right now. It's going directly there now. They're trying to really, and this is all I remember. Like I said, back in I think it was the '90s or whatever, where they were really pushing that particular topic with it being, oh, the kids have this and they have this privacy and you can't go in the room. It was everything, and so now most of the marketing, if you look at it, really focus even on some of the print media, or some of the quick commercials. You'll notice that they are gearing things towards the children making decisions. Have you noticed? You may not have noticed it, but I've noticed, and I think I do because I raise kids, and so that's why I think I noticed that. Hey, Marner, what's nonsense?
What's interesting with that though is that that's on a nationwide front or what have you, but it
It's
starts in the home.
worldwide, yeah, and
But
it
it
does.
starts
It
in the home.
does.
So
It
when we're
does.
doing small, like very small little things, like allowing our children to dictate what is going to be what, depending on their temper tantrum or depending on what is what is feasible or what not feasible, what is viable in
Mm-hmm.
the in their peer group at the time,
Mm-hmm.
um, then we really can't knock what's going on worldwide because it
Mm-mm.
started with our small little decision when we
Yes.
gave in to the child in our own
Yes.
household.
Yes. 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 That's true. That is true. But that's, and like Marner says, Marner Camel, hey, Marner Camel just said it's nonsense. And it is. It's like all of that stuff we sort of flood in and we don't know the origin. And it's like if you want to be a part of it, then if you want to be a part of the status quo, you're gonna let your kids take part. But the danger is, what happens if they never learn how to get out of it, as so many adults have. You know what I mean? It's so many adults have not gotten it. Let's see who's leaving us. I think it's Deb. Deb, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate you. You have a wonderful evening and go get you some good sleep, as we all are and as we all need to. I forget who it was. I think it may have been either Sarah or Deb that talked about the time changing, with it getting darker sooner, and that we all need to get our rest. Oh, thank you for that. That was a wise word because I know I do too.
Well, if I may,
Please do,
a
do.
super huge, massive shout out to Miss Deb Woods. Yeah, just wanted to throw
Oh
that
yeah,
out.
Deb Woods is just. I think everybody is really thirsty for truth right now, and you find that a lot of folks are really starting to just sink our teeth into these truths because it's so necessary, especially while we can. A lot of the stuff, and I truly believe that what we're talking about is so timely. Even for us to have started with the whole Valentine and all that stuff, it just takes you directly to the heart of those types of days. But I think it's really important to know that just like Yah has feast days, again, to reiterate, these are their feast days. These are their, these, listen, they,
Definitely.
they don't hide the fact that they worship certain things on these days. They don't hide it at all. As a matter of fact, you can look it up right now where there'll be people who used to be in a certain lifestyle and they come right out and say, yeah, we used to do X, Y, or Z when I was in this lifestyle. And I'm letting everybody know that if you're doing it, that you're still worshiping what they worship, which was something pretty dark and nefarious. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's worth bringing it up. You know? Yeah.
It is, and so what's interesting about the whole entirety of what's viable economically, these things don't really become a thing until it is viably, or economically viable.
Yeah.
So the popularity of Christmas really sank into becoming a thing in the American culture
Mm-hmm.
only after I forgot my man's name, but my man who wrote the night before towards the night
Dickens?
before.
Was it Dickens? Charles Dickens?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but who he that very popular poem became
Mm-hmm.
the the root
Like the
the
poster
thing.
child for Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it
Yeah.
became this warm and very
Fuzzy.
cozy,
Mm-hmm.
extremely homely type of thing, and warm lights and candle lights and
Eggnog and
yes.
cider and all the things that make you cozy while robbing you.
So, but and then the economic value of it became very noticeable in the market, and then it became a secular thing. It became the thing.
But you know what? I want to say this. Have you noticed how right
Same with
now,
Halloween.
yeah, and the same with Halloween, absolutely. And then when you look at it right now, it's amazing to me because it's like everybody's hearing about the cold time of the year. And I'm not going to quote the phrase because I don't want to, get anything started. Because I already get enough. Thank you guys for clicking that like button, by the way. But here's the thing, everything is on sale right now. And it started being on sale like about a month ago. I remember getting like little blurbs in the emails, oh, early Christmas or early this or that, or just come and buy it, buy it, buy it, buy it. Yeah, right now, buy it all up right now. And then there's not going to be anything worthwhile for you to purchase later because all of your money, if you're not wise right now, with what you got, and you go and blow it on pie in the sky televisions and stereos, if you buy stereos anymore, I don't know. If you go and buy all these durable things, I guarantee you that in a month and a half, or by January or mid-January, you're not going to have anything. And I mean that. If you're not stocking up on what you need to, you're not going to be very happy about that outcome. And I think that right now you're hearing everyone say that stuff is slowing down, and then they're doing a major push. For whomever used to work in retail as I did, we used to do major push orders. And so those push orders would hit the department stores somewhere around the late August period. Well, they've been pushing for a minute. So you're getting your stores full of a lot of stuff, and they're waiting for you to have the Black Friday sales and all that stuff, which is another day we can talk about the term Black Friday, so that you can spend all of your money on that stuff. But you can't eat that. I just want to put that right there. You can't eat none of that. You will wish that you had stored things.
Yeah.
You wish.
We're putting our money into products and not produce, and
produce seeds.
And the thing that we're going to have, you said we'll have nothing. We will have one thing. We'll have some debt. That's what we'll have.
Yeah, lots of debt and a lot of stuff that nobody will be able to trade for anything to eat, because ain't nobody gonna have nothing to eat. Yeah, get wise. Go ahead.
All right. And then, I might have this nice stereo system. I'll just use what you were talking about. But so we rely on this thing called a power grid. What if there's, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, it's very sensible to talk about preparedness. It really is. It's very sensible to talk about that right now. And I don't think that it's a bad segue, especially considering you mentioned the fact that the whole Christmas piece was brought up for economic purposes. And I think it is very, very important. And thank you very much, Cynthia, for putting that, because I couldn't say it, but I'm glad you did. What Cynthia has on the screen there is exactly right. So right now it's going into, just buy everything, because it gives you a sense of, like you just mentioned, the comfort, the eggnog and the delicious cider, warm mulled cider and all of that stuff. So get you really comfortable, and then after you're comfortable, it's like, whoa, wait a minute, we don't have any what store just closed? Especially if you're in these food deserts where you only have, a couple of stores in your area. If that's the case, then you can trust and believe that after everybody buys everything out for what's their next holiday, Thanksgiving, and then they're going to turn right back around and they're going to bring in a few things to make you think, okay, you got some food. They're going to bring in a few things so that you can purchase from them for Christmas. And then after that, you're going to really see. These are serious things. You know what's been in my mind just recently, and that was poor Venezuela a few years ago. And I think, I can't say I think, I know that I said then that was that it was like a test pilot. Venezuela, Greece back in, I believe 2016 or 2015? And now all they have right now is their Bitcoin. So I know that it seems like, we're getting off of the topic, but actually right now is that window of eye-opening. It's the window of understanding that if we're not, cognizant of the ploy and the pull, you'll find yourself buying a lot of stuff that you really don't need, and then you won't be able to do anything with that stuff. Yeah, you got TV, but if you can't pay the bill because things are all cattywampus, then what'll you do? Yeah, that's the very truth.
Yeah. If there's a blackout, what bill is there to pay?
But you remember when they had the blackout, Ronnie, in the state of Texas, how they had a blackout. Nobody had any lights. Yeah, you remember the test pilot? So when they did that, did that trial run, no, you're right. When they did the trial run, you remember people receiving bills that were astronomical amounts. These bills were upwards of $12,000 and $10,000 a month with no relief. If you remember that, now they have their own grid there. It's not like it's, it's not like it's other parts of the country. And so with that in mind, and then as soon as all of that stuff happened, what did they do? They sent out these large whopping bills, and they uncovered the protection was released off of them at the top of the year. So as soon as that protection was removed, they were the first ones that were swacked And then after they were swacked, it was like, okay, well, now pay us the money. And there was no relief. That is the point that I'm trying to drive home, is there was no relief given to them, even though they had no control over it and had no lights during that period of time. That's the unbelievable part about it. You remember that. They had nothing.
I remember it. I clearly do.
And like I said, last year to me was a test run for this year. Last year was a test to see how everybody would go out and purchase and buy everything up, and everybody felt comfortable. And then as soon as it looked like we could stick our heads out of the door, people stopped, putting things into their pantry. Some may have continued, but some didn't. And now you look at that and you're like, well, gee whiz, all that toilet paper that I bought is gone. All this is gone, because then you went into the reserves because of comfort, which brings us back to, for the holidays, how they will, give you all the nice mellow music with the crackling around the fireplace. And the first thing you think about with mellow music, a fireplace, and a warm beverage is rest. And you become lethargic. And with that lethargy becomes the sleepy, and then you're walking sleepy.
Lulled.
You have been lulled to sleep. Extra propane. Sarah Brown and everyone is giving great ideas. Yeah, but this is absolutely that. I didn't know that, Cynthia. I didn't know that you were in Quinlan, Texas. Yeah, but that's what they did, and it was a hot mess. But it always takes my mind back to what they were eating in Venezuela when they stopped things from coming in. They went from eating what they had left to then going to donkeys, and then they ate. They also ate flamingo, and they also ate. Some of their, Fido and all of those things. And these again are very terrible things to think about. However, they were all test pilots on a smaller scale. Remember, I said that about slavery. I said slavery was a test pilot to see, if you can enslave a group of people, then it can be done on a larger scale. That was the plan. That was the practice run. To learn how to enslave folks on a smaller scale. They used, many different cultures with slavery, but I'm using United States as an example. And then as soon as they went from there, then they were able to now practice it, and now they understand how to cause the divisiveness the same way they did between the darker skinned people and the lighter skinned people in that time. They had the people who thought they were special to quote unquote massa, and those people were the snitches and told and everything. It's the same practice. There's no difference. I think for us, is that if we understand and we realize that we have to keep up with the feast days and stay away from these kinds of things, this will be the point of difference for us going forward, is understanding the feast days, living by the feast days, keeping the Sabbath and doing those things. And then we will see that it is better for us, and we will see that we have a covering over us. That is the point of difference. And I think that's what we've really been trying to share over the past few months as it relates to all of the feast days, is that once you get into that and you leave all of Rome alone, which is why I showed you, who the quote unquote picture of the quote unquote Jesus is. We talked about duality. Now you've got meta, which is still again duality. It's important to know who your adversary is. And when you know that, you can better hone in on the feast days. You can better hone in on the Sabbath. You can better hone in on the Sabbath, I should say. And then you know exactly what you are doing and what you are not doing. And these things is what you're not doing. Don't waste your money or time on any of this stuff. I mean, if you like chocolate, wait till tomorrow until it's on sale and then go get yourself a bag. I don't care, but you definitely don't want to be a part of it. You definitely don't want to. Right, Ronnie?
That's right. And furthermore, the awesome thing that they have, that the enemy has in his bag, is that he doesn't come at you looking like this horrific monster. He comes to you looking like your friend.
Absolutely. What's the same reason why people?
Beautiful.
It's the same reason why people end up with different types of diseases below the waist. Because they don't think the person is dirty. They don't ever check. They don't ever, they don't ever think about anything. It's just, oh, I like him. He likes me. They don't even know the person's middle name. But because the person looked good and, quote, look clean, then they end up getting up with something they can't wash away with soap. It's all the same ideology. It's all the same mindset. If it looks good and if it looks clean and if it looks beautiful, then it must be good. It could never be the opposite. Are you kidding? Oh, no, it could never be the opposite, Ronnie. It could never be the opposite.
And what's crazy in this upside down world, it is the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is, but it's so disguised. I mean, they really have a perfect. Okay, maybe not perfect, but they really have a super awesome tool in their bag. I mean,
Well, and then I think
I'm
it's
gonna
because it,
befriend you. I'm
yeah,
gonna give you this beauty, this beautiful light.
right, yeah.
And
And I think it's because it works. I think it's because it's worked in the past, and if it worked, and if it's worked in the past, then they know that it can be done. I was sitting the other day and I was thinking, I was like, wow, all of the stuff that's working now has worked in the past, but look at it like this: you rarely hear of any of the old people leaving. They rarely do any of them leave. They're living like in their 90s and their early 100s, their late 80s, and they're still around wreaking havoc. And there's a reason for that. Those same old ideas are still with them, and then even if they do pass away, they've got so many under their tutelage that they can just pick up and carry on. Have you noticed that? They're living to like 89 and 90 years old. They were wreaking havoc when they were 30. They're wreaking havoc in their 40s, and now they're in their 80s and their 90s, and they are still wreaking havoc. I looked at that the other day. I was like, wow, those same exact individuals that are pulling all of these stops out and doing all the wicked stuff. And honing in on these days that they have, because they wouldn't have met this weekend, on this particular weekend. And then, like you just said, you got not just only Sunday, but you got, in this case, Monday and Tuesday. These are all, they take their days seriously. They take their days to quote unquote worship or quote unquote celebrate very, very seriously. And I think that we don't realize that. We think that it's just, a coincidence, to coin the phrase that you just used. It's a
so so
coincidence.
so if the enemy is taking his days seriously, and then we uh, look down our nose at them about it, um, are we any better if we're not taking Yah's days seriously?
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Listen, Marner Campbell says, we love following the crowds of pagans. Yes, and that's the truth. That's I'm going to let that sit there for just a second so that we can let that sink in. We love following the crowds of pagans. Now, I'm going to say this because, okay, say for example, I'm Betty and I'm watching this. I will see this and I will say, yes, you're absolutely right. And then I'll turn right around and go and do something that is absolutely right in line with the crowd, because nobody wants to be the person that's the dud or the joy, what do they call them? Buzz joy or joy buzz kill or whatever, or the wet blanket on the party or whatever, wet blanket on the furnace or fire. Nobody wants to be that person. But if you notice, Yahweh Shah said, hey, you know what? I'm not coming to keep all this peace that you guys think I'm coming for. I'm coming to divide some stuff up. Now, we keep commenting on that statement and we keep driving that statement home, but it's important to understand that, yes, sometimes when you come out of these particular days and holidays, that you're going to shake and rattle some feather. You're going to shake and rattle some cages. There's going to be somebody's feathers that are undone. I know a lot of times people say, oh, that sounds like Jehovah's Witnesses, or that sounds like this or that. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. There is a lot of truth in a lot of these other strings. Now, there's only one truth, but they utilize that and they do it very well. Now, of course, we know that that's not something that we want to go into as it relates to, what we're talking about here, because we are the children of the Most High Yah. But my point is that some people have absolutely no problem with saying no to these holidays. And to Ronnie's point, Ronnie, to your point, you just got through showing that they weren't even doing these holidays, that they were absolutely not allowed, that they were not allowed. They were not allowed. So I don't think it's hard for us to realize, all of the stuff that's attached to this stuff. What else is there about the misconceptions about where it comes from, Halloween, Ronnie?
Well, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, I hear you. Okay, so Yeah, there are misconceptions, but it's of the culture. It's just because of the culture that we've been raised, um, even worldwide, just worldwide. I'm speaking specifically. I'm in America, so I'm speaking from certain American values. But side note to the side note, which is actually not a side note, is that if we're looking like the crowd, if you find yourself looking and doing as the crowd, ask yourself how are we peculiar? How are we peculiar if we look just like the crowd? The reason I'm asking is because we're supposed to be a people peculiar. We're supposed to be a peculiar people.
Well, I don't think we can. I don't think we can be different if we're looking exactly like the crowd. If we're blending in like Peter did, no, I don't know him. I don't know him. I ain't never seen him before. Because, and a lot of times it's because we don't want people to be upset, or we don't, especially families. I think families take it the worst. I think when you come into these truths, that you'll find that your family will literally desert you. But see, they're not like most of us have come, where we're just trying to be nice and just don't want to really dig into it. No, you'll have some families that'll set up a special day for everybody to get together, and it won't be on one of their holidays. It'll just be a family gathering, and then somebody will bring it up, and then everybody will sit there like E.F. Hutton and listen and wait for the response. Does that make sense? So yeah, you'll find that they don't have a problem with attacking you. It's just that sometimes you don't have you find it hard to stand up, but you've got to learn to stand up. It doesn't matter what they say. You're going to be the odd man out, but you've got to be that peculiar people. You've got to stand out. You've got to let these things go. You've got to let those terms and those words that we're so comfortable with go. We really do. We really do.
Okay, so just to finish this this theme out. All Hallows Eve has been hijacked by secular culture, and what we're doing is we're reading from CatholicCompany.com. This is a Catholic based or a Catholic mindset website. It says All Hallows Eve has been hijacked by a secular culture. The contemporary version of Halloween that glorifies the demonic with an emphasis on violence, horror, and sensuality is, at least in part, a result of Catholics believing the propaganda against their faith and pulling away from the tradition and faithful celebration of this holy day. Um, so I guess we could say that this is a parody of what it became, but a parody is based on what at least to a degree, of what the essence of the thing is. So
Mm-hmm.
if this is dead people worship,
Mm.
then of course the parody is going to be a whole bunch of dead, you know.
Dead people. Yeah, yeah. You can't get away from it, no matter what you try to do. It ain't gonna work. It's a good try, though. Valiant effort, I might add, but it ain't gonna work. I quit all those holidays long ago, Cynthia Wood says, and I don't miss them. I know you save a bundle, don't you? We're coming up on 2 hours and 17 minutes of spending some great time with you here for Sunday supper, and it's just really good. I'm gonna be quiet so that Ronnie can finish up, so that we can all go to do what we got to do and get ready for our week. But let me be quiet. There you go, Ronnie. As he puts this, he finishes putting his finishing touches on it.
Well, just continuing reading to give to illustrate the idea of what it is, of what this thing is today that everybody's celebrating, where it comes from, out of their viewpoint, out of their worldview, out of their own mindset. It says it is true that Halloween has been badly corrupted and hyper commercialized, just like Christmas and Easter. However, just as that should never stop Catholics from fully celebrating the great feasts of the church, the Catholic way, neither should it stop Catholics from enjoying Halloween as a vigil celebration of the great feast of all saints.
Mm.
And here the young boy is dressed as a mighty warrior
With
angel. So
wings.
this Right. So this is a caricature of a mighty warrior angel, very Europeanized with the shield emblem, things of the nature. But this is a caricature because we've spoken not in great depth, but we've spoken on what quote unquote angels look like in scripture, and they do not look as
Mm-mm.
innocent and
Mm-mm. Horrifying, actually. Pretty creepy. They'll scare you, but you'll possibly, I don't know, but I know, oof, I know what the word says. So yeah, so it's good to know exactly where it comes from. It's so amazing how they try to sterilize it and take it away from dead, but it's dead. So there you go. It's amazing. So put this on, put that on. Look so cute. Have a good time, and all that good stuff. Well, thank you so much, Ronnie, for coming on in. I thank you guys for all tuning in for this episode of Sunday Dinner. It has been a blessing sitting with you guys. It really honestly has. Everybody's saying, have a peaceful night. Yes, shalom to all of you. And remember what we always say here on this show, here on this channel, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High Yah, until we see each other again. You guys take care of yourselves and take care of one another and continue to be blessed.
I've always been a unique person, you know what I mean? Sort of laid back in a way, but very adamant and very passionate about what I believe. I think a lot of times that sort of throws people off because they don't expect me to have the mindset or the process of thought that I do. And so when you come in to watch my channel, you may hear a myriad of thoughts and ideas that could be different from others. What I want you to do is just sit back, like, share, and subscribe.
To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.
Helping you along the way. Helping you to make it through another day. Yeah. Everything you need to know.